Good morning, everybody, and welcome to day one of the International Happiness Fest. I don't think this could come at a better time for any of us. So for the next 10 days at 10 a.m., I will come live and we will do one of the happiness practices as listed from the World Happiness Fest. And I would also like to offer you guys some mindful moments, some mindfulness techniques and breathing techniques. And these classes are for adults and children, because as adults, tuning into our inner child and connecting with our emotions, which is the weather for today. Our emotions are it's our internal weather gauge to how we're feeling. So in the class today and the days going forward, it'll be directed towards children, and we will include some yoga and yoga poses for children. And as I said, it totally is relatable for adults too. So I hope you join in with your children or play it back at a later date when you can enjoy the practice together. I will also read a little story for the children, and everybody is so welcome to join, and I do hope it entertains your children while they're at home during this period, and that they also gain some valuable mindful insights on how to cultivate happiness and create and build happiness as a habit in their lives going forward, which are really valuable life skills and tools that we were never taught as children. So the practice for today is the weather. When we tune into how we're feeling inside, that's like our internal weather gauge. So it makes us aware of how we're feeling. And when we're aware of how we're feeling inside, we can also be more compassionate and aware of how others are feeling. So we feel less stuck also if we're in a bad mood or feeling angry. We learn that our emotions and our feelings are like clouds, and we watch them as the observer as they pass through the sky. They don't stay forever, and you are not your emotions. So this is also beneficial for children, so they can imagine when they are feeling angry or feeling sad or equally feeling happy, knowing that these feelings, they come and that they go. So when they're feeling sad or angry, you can let them know that this is like a cloud, and they can watch that cloud pass through the sky as they breathe their way into a calmer state of being, and that feeling doesn't last forever. To remember that blue sky is always there, and that blue sky is there above the clouds. It's hard to see it in Ireland, but above those clouds, those emotions, is always that underlying blue, calm, happy sky, which is always accessible and always there. We had that most of the time in South Africa, so it was easier to feel happier and full of energy and full of life. And in some countries we have to make a bigger effort to see that underlying blue, calm sky, but knowing it's always there above the clouds and is accessible to you and your children and your families, regardless of what's going on around you. So that happy, calm, bright blue sky is also accessible inside of you, and that's where your inner happiness comes from. And you can access that through cultivating a practice of happiness and making that choice to do and what makes you happy daily. And it's those little moments of cultivating happiness that makes you happier on a more sustainable level throughout your day. So we'll take a moment, and with your children, you can come home into your body in this moment, just recognizing how you're feeling at the moment in your body. You can sit down comfortably. I have a yoga mat here. I'm in all my gear ready to go, and just become aware of how you're feeling right now. Sometimes you wake up in the morning and you feel happy for no reason. And that makes you smile, you feel more at ease, and you feel more, you're happier. You're happy like the sun. So sometimes we have more difficulty throughout the day based on what's going on around us. We can feel more grumpy, we can feel aggressive, we can feel angry based on life circumstances. And you know what? It's recognizing that all of these emotions are okay. They're all normal, but they will pass. They are like clouds in the sky. Sometimes we feel a little bit misty, a little bit foggy. You can explain to your children, just like the weather. You can have a thunder and a rainstorm, but know too that this all will pass. And sometimes it's really stormy, like it has been here in Ireland. We've had endless storms, but it too passes. And it's recognizing that if you're feeling low, or your children, or anxious, or stressed, it too will pass. And it's how to cultivate what makes you feel good and self-care that can help you get through those times. So as we practice checking in on ourselves, how is the weather today for me? And that's asking, how is the weather feeling in your body? Are you feeling happy like the sun? Are you feeling stormy and rainy like one of the storms that has passed? Are you feeling like a whole blizzard coming down on top of you? That helps us to articulate how we're feeling, and that way we can detach ourselves from it and become the observer of the emotions. So what is behind the weather? Well, if there's lots of clouds, what's behind them? We know what's behind them, that bright blue sky, and it's always there. And that's what you can tell your children. So stretching out, vast and so kind, loving and caring is that blue sky. Always there for us, always accessible. I'm just reading what they have written here. And the rest, all of my feelings, all of my thinking, and all of my moods are just like the weather. Like clouds, they can come and they will go. So tuning into the weather, it helps us notice how we're feeling, and it helps us to notice that that blue sky is always there, and we can find that whenever we need. So when you can also, for children, it's nice, they can ask, how's your weather today? And they can say, well, my weather's feeling pretty stormy at the moment, but I know that it's like the clouds and it too will pass. That helps them, because kids often find it very difficult to verbalize and put a name on an emotion that they're feeling. You know, for them to say, I'm feeling rather stressed at the moment. You know, you don't really hear that. It comes out in other forms. For children, they may become angry, they may become aggressive, but actually that's them not being able to verbalize what they're feeling. So if you turn it into, how's your weather feeling today? Do you feel happy like the sun? Do you feel rainy like a stormy day? Or do you feel windy like a stormy day? That can help them verbalize how they're feeling. And you can tell them that, you know, hey, up above those clouds is that bright blue sky. Let's lie down, which we will do in a while, and visualize those clouds passing by, just like their emotion. And that also enables them to see that they are not their anger, they are not their anxiety or their stress. It's something that they are feeling, and it too will pass. As you can see, I love talking about this. I'm so passionate about this, so I hope it's helping all of you. I'm really in my element here. So, it allows us to tune into our bodies. So knowing that how we're feeling and our emotions have that physical mapping in our body, and that's just not beneficial, obviously, for children. A lot of adults don't even realize that tuning into, if they're feeling anxiety, it can be butterflies in their tummy, they can be feeling stressed or tense. Knowing too that this is an emotion, this too will pass. Become the observer of the emotion and watch it float away like clouds in the sky. It's your internal weather gauge. So let's see, what else have we got here? Some weathers are delightful, some are really challenging, but all weathers belong. Whether it's a storm, whether it's a sunny, beautiful day, whether it's hail, sleet, snow, sun, you name it. What else have I got here? A sad grey cloud, excited rain. They all have their place, but they will come and they will go. And that's really valuable for us to know as adults, and to explain to our children. So tuning in to how your body feels, your internal weather gauge, how is your weather, is really valuable to do a few times a day. Because sometimes when I do this, I realize that my body is really tense. And that enables me to just release the tension in my body, take a few mindful breaths and come back into the moment. And I attach this to something I always say that I do a lot of times a day. I attach it to boiling my kettle for my 30 cups of tea a day. So I tune into my body. Attaching it to something you already do makes it easier to remember to do. So maybe you can find something that you do often. And particularly now that we're home more with kids, maybe you can say to your kids, every time you go wash your hands, tune in, how is your weather feeling? And, use that analogy for them going forward on building a practice of tuning into their emotions. There are lots of activities that they can do. And you as an adult, join in with them. What you can do is draw out the weather. Get some paper, get some colours, draw out visually to draw and articulate what they are feeling. Let's draw their weather each day, how it's feeling for them. Hi Kim, hi Olivia, thanks for tuning in. I hope this will be beneficial for you. I have loads of activities for you and your kids lined up. So what they can also do, if they can write a journal of how they're feeling. I'm feeling a little blue, like dark blue sky today because I can't see my friends. I'm now feeling a little low, but maybe there's things they can do. At least they are articulating and learning to tune into how they're feeling, which is the first step, awareness. So they can keep a journal. They can also add music. I have a lovely song I'm going to play later for them. They can add music. Music is so powerful. And tuning into happier songs, we know lifts our mood and our emotions. And it does that too for children. So being aware and being conscious that you can make happy, healthy choices during your day when you may be feeling stressed to boost your mood, to make you feel happy. Remember, happiness is a habit. Cultivating small habits daily to cultivate your happiness is the catalyst for real change and inner happiness. My friend Kim, who's watching there, she has an amazing course that I'm going to send a link with for dance. She has a dance studio in Ireland and she's been going for over 20 years and she is fabulous, and I mean that. And I'm going to add a link where you can access her free videos for dance. Why not get in with the kids and dance at home? Dance your way to happiness. There are so many ways you can do, and we are all there to help you to get through this and not let it drag you down. We can't always control what's going on outside of us, but we can control what's going on inside of us, and that affects everybody around us. So maybe what instruments would they add? Maybe you have some pots and pans and they can add some drums and whack on those drums. Create music, create any ways like this through art, through music, through movement, that they can access, tune into and articulate their emotions in a way that they can relate to. So for the next, I have, I disappeared for a moment. I have a download that I'm going to send to you, which is different types of weather. So now I'm going to do, if your kids are around, or you can do this with them later, but you are also so welcome to join in. I did yoga, I play yoga in South Africa, and it was just last night really, well a few days ago maybe, when I started thinking of adding yoga into doing this class, because I am so inspired by the science of happiness, and that it is something that we can grow and cultivate, and that I have worked hard on for years, that I became so inspired to deliver these practices to you. And I just thought, Having delivered yoga to children in South Africa, it helped me to access my inner child. And you know what? I think I enjoyed those classes even more than the kids. I have amazing music, yoga poses through story, and this is all something you can do at home. But I'm going to include a little bit of that today, that you can be mindful, come into the moment, learn a few yoga poses. Yoga is amazing for instilling calm and ease, and also strengthening your body, and amazing for flexibility. And you know, you can access so many yoga classes online on YouTube. And for your kids, you don't even have to go anywhere. So there is so much you can do from home. So now I've sorted your yoga class, I've sorted your art class for the day, I've sorted your music class. So all is good. I'm just not going to be able to be there to cook for you. Right, you got to do that yourself. So here we have, for example, you can be feeling sunny. How does the sun make them feel? It makes them feel bright. They can associate colors that make them feel good. They can do a shape like the sun, stretch out high like the sun in the sky, tilt up to look at that bright blue sky that's always there for them. That felt like a good stretch. I hope you're joining in. How about the clouds and the thunder? They could make a crashing noise like the thunder and do a forward bend. You're going to lose me now, but a forward bend like the thunder. This can be the thunder and the lightning crashing down on the earth. So enable them to do a forward bend that can be the thunder and the lightning crashing. How about the rain? Sprinkle the rain down on the earth. We have had so much rain here in Ireland that I wish that it would have done for the whole of Australia and South Africa, I promise you. So it's been so rainy. So Irish children certainly will know how to do the rain. So they could do a forward bend, letting Mother Nature, the rain, come from the clouds down onto the earth and feed the earth to give us what we have in beautiful nature. And at that same time, maybe we could wish send some kind thoughts. Like, in this time, I send some beautiful loving kindness and rain to those in South Africa and to those in Australia and elsewhere where they don't have the rain. This could be a moment to teach your children to have compassion and to think of others in other countries who don't have what we have. So you can turn this into so many things to enable them to build compassion and empathy for others, and not just in their own space, and to create awareness. They could obviously, it could be quite hectic in your lounge, but they could be a tornado and they could spin and really jump that energy out. They could also be a rainbow where they can be an arc and stretch from side to side. I really hope you're doing this because it's an awesome stretch. So the rainbow, go from side to side. I'm going to have to do more of this. It feels fab. They can be snowflakes. What do snowflakes look like? And they can attach colors and adjectives to whatever comes to mind for them. So there are many things they can do. So if they're standing still in mountain pose, is standing still, and the mountain rises up into that blue sky because it's tall. Now, standing in mountain pose enables them to come into the moment, to focus. So it builds their focus, their awareness of their bodies, standing still. They have to be fully present in the moment, which is a skill. And it calms them and eases them. They can also be tree pose. We can do mountain and tree pose today. Now, I can't show you because my camera is on a stand, but tree pose, where they hold their body strong, so they become aware of their body again. They are lifting one leg either onto the side of their calf or higher up above their knee, but never forcing, never stretching, just doing what is comfortable for their body. Now, when they come into tree pose, maybe they could lift their branches high up into that blue sky. And you can make fun, they can wobble a bit, they can be a tree in a storm. So those branches are swaying, but can they keep their trunk strong? Because their trunk is always strong and in the ground. And they can reach their branches up to that blue sky. There's so many things you can do. So for today, you can practice the mountain pose, standing tall and strong. And the mountain is always steady, always the same through those wobbly emotions and can access the blue sky. So let's be like that tall mountain where we stand firm and have that calm blue sky inside us, no matter what's going on around us. Now, as children, they may become anxious or a little stressed or a bit bewildered as to what's going on, why they're stuck at home now and not fully aware of what's ahead. And it can make them anxious, even though you may not even realize that they are anxious. So a little breathing exercise we can do with them is ask them, imagine, and please feel free to do this with me too, and it is super effective. You have a balloon in your tummy. Okay, Kim, that can be a sparkly pink balloon. Or Olivia, you can have one full of rainbows. The girls love this. Of course, the boys are not so interested. But however, they can pick whatever color balloon they want and visualize this balloon in their tummy. Now, this breathing exercise, not only is it going to bring their mind back into the present moment and increase focus and attention, it's also going to enable them to learn a breathing skill that they can use anytime and anywhere to calm heightened emotions if they do feel stressed or anxious. And by practicing this a few times a day, it'll become their automatic go-to behavior. And they will know that, oh, when I'm feeling those wobbly feelings like the clouds or the thunderstorm, I can put my balloon in my belly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to breathe in. And as I breathe in, I'm going to put my hands on my tummy and I'm going to visualize that balloon expanding, blowing up that balloon. And now they'll say their sparkly balloon is getting really big. So they're oxygenating their bodies. And as they exhale, that balloon will deflate. So you're increasing their awareness, their ability to visualize. They've come away from what's causing stress and anxiety, and for you as parents. So as you breathe in, the balloon in your tummy expands, and as you exhale, the balloon deflates. You can practice this for as many times as you feel, or for as long as you need. But the kids love this. You can also place a teddy or something light like a teddy on their tummies if they're lying on the ground, and so that they can visually see the tummy rise and fall. So when they can actually see what's going on, they can often relate to it better. So what that does is it calms the emotional brain. So those stress hormones are calmed. So now you and your kids can think in a more logical, calm manner and feel more at ease. And this is, of course, instrumental for our happiness because things can spin out of control and you need to know how to instill calm and ease. So belly breathing. Again, you can find these techniques on YouTube. My advice would be to practice often. Make it a game with your kids. Kids, I know with mine, they were only interested if it can become a game. So you want to have the balloon in the belly or the toy on the tummy. So that's a breathing technique. So now you've got some yoga poses and you've got a breathing technique to practice today. I'm going to introduce some amazing yoga cards in the next few days. But for now, I'm going to read you a little story and for your kids. So maybe you can play that back to them. And you'll thank me when you can do that later. And you can sit and have your cuppa and they can listen to my story and do some yoga poses. So, excuse me while I get the book. Now, I'm not sure if this comes out sideways on Facebook. Anyway, it's called Worries Are Like Clouds. So, for all of the story, they can even make up their own yoga poses. For kids yoga, there's no rules. It's about play. It's about just being fully present. And I know kids are like that anyway, but it's about enabling them to tune into their bodies and understand what their bodies are telling them. So worries are like clouds. Okay. Never thought I'd be doing story time on a Monday morning at 10 a.m. But never say never. I'm open to anything that comes my way. So here we go. Some days are wonderful. Now, what yoga could we do there? There we have the panda lying. He could have his hands on his tummy, so the kids could have their hands on their tummy, and he could be practicing his belly breathing. We also have the sun and the blue sky. So they could look up to the sun, have a good stretch and check out and know that that blue sky is always there. We have the ocean. They could make the sounds of the ocean. Butterflies. I'll do that another day. You won't see me if I get down on the floor now to do butterfly yoga. But this is about the feelings. Some days are filled with golden sunlight that calls us to run out and jump and play with fresh air on our faces. So here we have, hey, introduce a little skipping. There we have the clouds. Like emotions, they come and they go. They will pass. So your child could be any of those. They could choose which little animal to be. And they can roll around, jump, skip, and that also keeps them active. Some days are filled, maybe I read this already. Some days are filled with laughter and giggles that make our legs wobble and our faces ache in the best kind of ways. See, some days are like that, even for adults and children. Some days are filled with friends and family who love us and are close to us and make us feel warm and loved and special. Now, this is actually quite an important one because at the moment we can't all be close to grandparents, especially children. And grandparents can be feeling isolated, and they will do. So maybe we can set up Skype calls or Zoom calls or FaceTime to keep visually connected and keep the children connected with their grandparents. Another thing here is I am a massive hugger, and you can't hug people, or you shouldn't be right now. But there's nothing to say you can't give yourself a big hug. And teaching your children that they can always be there for themselves and they are their own best friend. And they can give themselves a hug anytime they feel that they need that comfort. So in those times, there's always other ways where we can self-soothe and help soothe the older people who are in our lives who will be feeling isolated. Okay. We have such wonderful days, we wish we could bottle them or somehow keep them with us to look at and feel again another day. So yeah, knowing that some days are good, some days aren't so good, but it too will pass, just like that cloud in the sky. And also remembering that when they do feel good and have really nice emotions, it might be nice to have pictures of that. So for memories that when they are feeling a little blue or a little down, they can go look at those pictures. And then when they savor and remind themselves of that moment, it too will lift their mood. So just to maybe create that memory on paper for them so that they can have their happiness file, everything that makes them happy. And when they're feeling a little go low, go look at that folder. We have some days that are not so wonderful. Some days that can be a bit tough. So here we are, the rain. You can do your yoga pose of the rain. Do a forward bend of that rain falling onto the earth. Here we have the cloudy sky. It's a little grey, but reminding them that behind that grey sky is the blue. So this little dude is at the beach. Maybe they can figure out or decide on create their own yoga pose or what they would like to create for that page. Now, let's look at this one. Some days we are cranky or tired or sad. Some days we don't feel like getting out of bed and we don't feel like being friendly. Well, this can be adults too, and I've been there too, believe me. So knowing when you are in that frame of mind or struggling with anxiety or a little depression, knowing that doing what you don't, little things, just to get you out of that state and shift your attention to something more positive, does actually make a difference. Don't wait to feel motivated to take action, because motivation comes from taking action. So yes, we may feel like this, and some days we do need our rest, but knowing that that rain, that storm too will pass, and here, turning to somebody who can help us. There's always somebody there, and you know, turning to that person. You see here, she has her cup of tea. She must know me well. So turning to somebody if you need and reaching out and connecting to others is vital for our well-being. I hope you can see these pictures. Some days we get in trouble for our choices. We have problems that we can't work out how to fix, and we just don't seem to have any luck. What do you reckon there? Well, he's got a giant... Anyway, he was being greedy. Look at the size of that ice cream he's got. And then, of course, it all falls. So maybe that can teach us not to be greedy. Don't look for too much, you know? And be happy with less is more. And simplicity is the way to go. So, but some things don't always go our way. And seeing that we all make mistakes, we're all human, things go wrong, but you know what? It too will pass, and everyone else in the world is not perfect and makes mistakes. And it's recognizing that may ease you being so hard on yourself. And also for children who are like perfectionists, tend to be very hard on themselves, and enable them to see that, look, it's okay, this will pass. Will it matter in 2 months' time, in a year's time? And if the answer is no, then learning to just literally like a hot coal, let it go. Visually, just let it go. It actually doesn't matter. Some days we get worries. Look at this poor dude. And we do. It's part of life. We all have worries. But it's what we do with the worries that actually matters. And not allowing the worries to take us over so that we can't function, that it's affecting our well-being and our health. So it's recognizing that the rain will fall, the clouds will come, but what are we going to do with it? We're going to recognize it, we're going to become the observer of it, and we're going to let it pass. Of course, we're going to be proactive with what we can control and what we can do, but we're not going to let it take us over. So you see, and it's knowing that everybody gets worries, even this big guy. There's a lovely yoga pose they could do. They could pretend to be big elephants. Well, it's not really a yoga pose, it's the kids one, and stomp around the lounge if you let them. And that way they can be stomping away their worries. So here, worries are like clouds that float on. What have I said? Worries are like clouds that float on in and take the shine out of our day. They can take the shine out of our day if we let them. We acknowledge them. Having worries, having stress is normal. We acknowledge it. We don't suppress any emotions. All emotions are valid and real. We recognize, we allow them, but we don't allow them to consume us. So there we go. Ask your children what yoga poses they would suggest or what movement for this. We'll have to have another day of doing yoga. It's very hard to read a book and do yoga at the same time. If our day is particularly gloomy, it may be because we have a problem. If we know that we have a problem, we can try and fix it. So that's about being proactive, not just, again, for adults and children. You can see how this is valuable. Children's books can be so valuable to adults as well. I'm sure if you have children and you read these, you'll understand and get that yourself. When we know what the problem is, we can come up with all sorts of fixes and then pick the best fix and give it a go. So this is about not wallowing in a situation. It's about being proactive, looking at the options, analysing, checking out what you feel is best, and then making an informed decision. Very advanced for children, really, isn't it? If we need some help with a problem, we can ask someone to lend a hand. Again, there you have your tree pose. You can have the little bunny jumping up and down. Again, it's about reaching out to others if we have a problem. Knowing we're not alone. You may not feel like it. And for children, a problem shared is a problem halved, as they say. And sometimes when we verbalise it and share it, it's not as big anymore and it becomes more manageable rather than keeping it all inside, which isn't good for your health and well-being. Sometimes, no matter how much we think and try, the problem still can't be fixed. The worry cloud just won't go away and it grows and it grows. Okay, well, we can all relate to how that feels. So let's see what's going to happen next. Sometimes we think and think and think and think, and then we worry and worry and worry ourselves until we feel quite uptight and unwell. Now, this is where mindfulness is so valuable. It puts a spanner in the works of things becoming like this. When you can use that mindful breathing, for example, to bring yourself back into the present moment, it puts a wedge between this overwhelming thought spinning out of control and puts you back into control. Because when your mind is spinning out of control, you have all these stress hormones racing around, like I said, and you can't think straight. So using and focusing on your breathing, even counting the breath or naming the breath as you inhale and exhale, enables you to put a spanner in this so that you can reclaim that calm in your mind and your body, because nobody can respond well and react from a place of overwhelm, becoming uptight and unwell, just like what's happening here. So here we can teach our children this too. Thinking too much about a worry makes things feel much worse and much darker and cloudier than they need to be. A worry can make you feel quite sick. A worry can put us off our food, and a worry can stop us sleeping well at night. As I said, children may not be able to verbalize feeling like this, but reading a story like this and telling them that everybody has these worries, but there's things we can do to help ourselves. Again, they're free and they're yours. These are life skills that we really should be teaching our children. And friends. Different people deal with worries in different ways. Some people like to share their worries with people they love. Talking about a worry with someone who cares can make you feel less worried. So confiding in somebody you trust, even if it's a child, being able to talk about it, being able to draw what they are feeling, helps them release those emotions so you're not keeping it all inside. Other people can help sort out your thoughts or just let you know that everything's going to be all right. Again, it's about connection. We all need connection to others. We crave human connection, and we need it. And at a time like this, when people are more isolated, we need to make that extra effort to connect and be there for others. And by like scaremongering or having fear in people, it's not actually helpful. We all need to know facts in every situation, but what are you doing to boost your well-being and your sense of happiness within? Just because if there's disasters going on doesn't mean you cannot have inner happiness, because the more inner happiness that you can cultivate as a habit has that ripple effect on everybody around you. So if you're going to have to go through something anyway, rather go through it by enhancing your well-being and happier. Creating healthy habits. Some people like to grab the worry in their head and imagine setting the worry free to fly off far into the distance. And if the worry comes back again, just keep on letting it go. So here we have the balloon that we have used our calming belly breathing techniques to induce that calm. So now if that worry is still there, children and adults, it's great to visualize, I have that balloon, right? Just like I was saying, just drop that like a hot coal. Maybe if you want to visualize that worry or that concern as a balloon and go outside and let it go. Visually seeing it fly away is detaching it from you. You become the observer and now it's gone. You have to make that conscious decision to let it go. Again, it's choices and being aware of your self-talk and becoming aware of your thoughts and what actually are you thinking in each moment. Is it helpful or unhelpful? Some people like to keep themselves busy by doing things so that there is no room in their day for worry. It can help to be busy doing things we like and things we know that we're clever at doing. It's a nice distraction. Again, it's about acknowledging all of your emotions because they all have a place, they all exist and they're there for a reason. But then acknowledge it. Say, I'm feeling anxious about this, release it, and then fill yourself with what makes you happy and what's beneficial for your well-being. Even if it is reading kids' stories. Some people like to take extra care of their bodies when they worry. Here we go. Ask your child what animal they wish to be. Or your husband or your boyfriend. It doesn't matter. We won't judge you. They take long, slow breaths into their bodies and to tighten all their muscles, and then let the breath and the tightness and the worries just go. So with each breath you're taking, the worry can be released because there's actually a physical response going on in the body when you do that breathing to release your worries and your stress. First of all, you're making that conscious decision. And secondly, you're using a technique that's having a physical response on your mind and your body. Some people like to write or draw about their worries. Some people like to stop the worry and swap it with memories and ideas of those wonderful days. The ones filled with sunshine and laughter and love, or the wonderful days yet to come. So like we said, they can draw and have that happiness folder that they can turn to. And by Also, science says by when you savor and write about or draw the things that make you happy, you're wallowing in those emotions and those feelings, and that has a greater impact and a more lasting effect on your happiness. Oh, we're on to the last page. Some days are wonderful, some days are tough. Moving worries away can make even the toughest day seem a little brighter. So remembering there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Emotions all have a place, but they all pass. And you can, I'll attach a meditation if you like, about the clouds and visualizing them pass. But maybe your children or you would like to take a few moments now, even though we didn't get to do much yoga, for Shavasana, which is really, really relaxing. So you can tell your children they can pretend they're at like their mum or dad's big grown-up yoga class. They can lie on the floor, lie on a mat, arms spread out, palms facing up. Take a few nice deep belly breaths. Allow their legs to flop open. And I am going to play the most beautiful song by Kira Wiley for them and for you as you relax as we end this class today. And tomorrow we'll be back for another class, which hopefully you'll join in, which will be another activity to boost and enhance not just your well-being, but of your children. And we will be doing that for the next 10 days. If there's any printables, any audios, I will attach them to this. So let me find this lovely song. Okay. Oh, wait.
After the rain, just past the clouds, up where the birds play, there is a place where magic lives. You can come with me, I will lead the way. Oh, meet me underneath the rainbow. Meet me underneath the rainbow. Meet me in the blue sky. White waterfalls, mountains of green, wide pools of clear blue. Just close your eyes, open your arms, breathe in the air, it's all right here for you. Oh, meet me underneath the rainbow. Meet me underneath the rainbow. Meet me in the blue sky. Oh, meet me underneath the rainbow. Meet me underneath the rainbow. Meet me in the blue sky. Sometimes we all need a different place to go. You'll find what you need beneath the rain. The rainbow. Bum 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 bum. Oh, meet me underneath the rainbow. Meet me underneath the rainbow. Meet me in the blue sky. Oh, meet me underneath the rainbow. Meet me underneath the rainbow. Meet me in the blue sky.
Isn't that such a beautiful song? That's Kira Wiley. I used a lot of her songs when I did kids yoga.
Dance
Woo!
to the sun. Begin standing up tall with your
Okay.
feet close together, your legs strong, and your
Ah,
arms straight at your
what is
sides.
that?
Here we go. Arms reach up, look up.
Okay, that's another that's another class. Her songs are really beautiful if you want to look them up online for your kids. She also has yoga classes with her gorgeous songs that you could take part in with your kids. They're online on Spotify. And what also I was going to say is, yeah, in the days going forward, we will have more of the same. So I hope you'll tune in. I hope you'll have a lovely day further, because I can't remember now what I was going to say. Oh, I do now. Sorry. As we can't hug and kiss and all of that at the moment, maybe we can also use this time where, you know, a smile not only uplifts the way you feel, but it and enhances your happiness. It affects the people around you. So maybe if we can't hug or whatever, we can smile, not just for ourselves, but for others too. So I hope you have a lovely day further, and I hope you'll join in tomorrow, and I hope this was of some value to you and that your kids will enjoy and benefit, as will you, on our first day of the World Happiness Fest. Thank you from Sue at Inner Happy in Barna in the west of Ireland. Ciao.